Phuket is not Patong. Every time somebody asks me where the best place is to work remotely right now in the world, I say Phuket. And sometimes they give me a funny look. As soon as they give me that funny look, I know they're thinking of where I'm walking right now. And Phuket is kind of big. If you look at the map flashed on the screen right now, you can see where I'm standing or walking is Bangla Road in Patong. But the very best place to work is Phuket, but it's in the southern part of the island, on the southern tip. And that's where Rawai is. And that is by far the best place to work remotely right now in the world. But where I'm walking, Bangla Road, it's like a cross between Tijuana, Venice Beach, and Ibiza. Definitely not the best place to work remotely. It's probably the very worst place to work remotely, unless you're looking for like drugs, sex shows, or sex, or anything else you can imagine. But for this video, we're talking about the best place right now in the world to work remotely, and that is Rawai. So next stop, we're leaving Bangla Road. We're gonna head south about 30 minutes to Rawai. Phuket is not Patong. Every time I tell people that Phuket is my favorite place to work remotely, they always look at me funny because they think of Patong. But what I mean by that is Rawai. Rawai is absolutely the best place to work remotely right now. Right now we're at Harn Beach. And how does Phuket score for creative energy? It scores really high. And a part of creative energy for me is getting in a good groove, good flow, and the weather plays a significant part to that. And you look at this beautiful day, blue skies, beautiful beach, and that all helps get into that nice creative flow and also just the ease of the day. So how does Phuket score for creative energy? It scores a 9, and I want to give you an example of what my typical day is like right now. So let's go take a look at just how easy my day gets off to a start in Phuket. I love getting my day started in Rawai because it's so easy. It's always a good mood because the surroundings are so positive. You can go to the ocean, Harn, and go for a nice swim in the ocean. You can go right around the corner to a beautiful gym and have nice yoga. Just right here at the Herbal Steam, you can have a nice fresh cup of coffee or a coconut, or walk across the street and have really delicious fresh fruit. But one of my favorite ways to get in the right groove and have good positive energy is to come down here just 30 seconds away from home, have a nice ice bath, herbal steam, swim. It's a real wonderful way to start the day. So great. How does Phuket score for the environment, more specifically air quality? Some of the best air quality in Thailand. The air quality is really good. It's better than Bangkok, definitely better than Chiang Mai year round. So for air quality and the environment, it's good and healthy. The air is good almost all year long. It scores an 8. It's a hot day today at Harn Beach. I'm gonna grab a coconut. A $1 coconut, 30 baht, less than $1. Thank you. How does Phuket score for like coffee spots and co-working? A lot of the co-working in Phuket is right down here in Rawai in the south of the island. So you have some really good co-working options. You can check out one of my other videos to talk specifically about co-working in Phuket. But for co-working and like coffee spots to plug in and have a good work day, Phuket scores really well. It scores an 8. This might be the most dangerous part of being in Phuket, a tsunami. It happened 20 years ago. But how does Phuket score for safety and security? It scores really high. And it might be, you see all the temples around, there's a lot of spirituality. With Buddhism, the whole concept of karma seems to be in full effect. You can leave your helmet on your motorbike. Sometimes I even leave my key in the motorbike and no one ever takes it. And even at home, I never locked the door, never had a problem. That's not to say that there are sometimes certain issues. It's just compared to the rest of the world and all the news that we're seeing around the world right now where it looks so unstable and a lot of random acts of crime. You don't get that here. So for safety and security, Phuket scores really high. It scores a 9. How does Phuket score for health and fitness? Here we are at the lake, and in the evening time, there's just so many people out here jogging around the lake, and this equipment's all full. But for health and fitness, like yoga, Muay Thai, surfing, water sports, you name it, bicycling, Phuket might be the biggest health mecca in the world. Better than LA, better than Miami, and the facilities are all top notch. So for health and fitness, Phuket's a perfect 10. How does Phuket score for housing and healthcare? First, housing. It scores really well. Housing based on availability, price, and then design. So for Phuket, if your budget is $500 a month or $50,000 a month, you're gonna find the house you are looking for, or the villa, or the condo, or apartment. There's a lot of availability to choose from, and then once you get there, the design is beautiful. Compared to other cities around the world, Phuket scores an 8 for housing. It's very affordable, you have beautiful design, and there's a lot to choose from. What about healthcare? So the clinic behind us is like for acupuncture, cupping, sports massage, and for preventive medicine or wellness, Phuket's a perfect 10. But in regard to treatment, so there is an international hospital here that specializes in medical tourism. They see a lot of foreigners. People even fly here to get treated. But if it's like a brain surgery, maybe you're better off going to the US. But everything short of that, there's an international hospital here that's gonna meet your needs. So for healthcare and wellness specifically, Phuket scores high, but for hospitals and healthcare, Phuket scores an 8. How does Phuket score for nature? The guy that wrote the book about happiness said that one of the more critical things to being really enjoyable and happy each day is to be located near the water. So on that note, with Phuket and all the beautiful beaches that you have to choose from, some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, Phuket scores high. It's a 9. You have waterfalls, you can go out and walk all you want. In Phuket, you have some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. So you never are starved of enjoying a beautiful ocean, going for a nice walk on the sand or a jog or being outdoors. So for nature, Phuket scores really high. It's almost a perfect 10. We're gonna give it a 9. How does Phuket score for nightlife and entertainment? We're at Preventive Cape, and right when you walk into Preventive Cape, there's a sign that says Phuket, livable city. And it is a livable city, probably one of the most livable cities I've ever been in. But for nightlife and entertainment, I think it starts right here at Preventive Cape, because in the evening time, nighttime, you have some of the most stunning sunsets you'll ever see, and you'll notice hundreds of people here to enjoy beautiful, natural, free of charge sunsets. But afterwards, you have all the nightlife you want to choose from. You can go to Cafe Del Mar, you have big nightclubs like Ibiza, or you can go more charming and live entertainment in Phuket town. So the options are limitless, and it scores really high. It doesn't score a perfect 10, but it scores an 8. Phuket doesn't score perfectly for all categories of working remotely. Let's talk about transportation really quickly. So, transportation score for Phuket is pretty low, but that all changes if you have one of these. When you're in Phuket, you must have a scooter to get around. If you have a scooter, transportation gives you a lot of freedom. Scores an 8, but if you don't have a scooter, transportation score is about a 3. You don't really have any public transport. Taxis get ridiculed here for overcharging. They even overcharge locals. So if you live and work in Rawai, you must have a scooter. And related to transportation, how is it for walkability? Not good. So a walkability score in Phuket is a 2. How does Phuket score for diversity? Let's go take a look. So how does Phuket score for cultural diversity? It scores really high, because if you look at the history 2,000 years ago, Phuket's on the trade route between Persia and China. So you have a melting pot here. It's like 40% Muslim here in the south, but then you have a lot of Buddhism too. And it's just This market, I think, reflects a lot of diversity because as you can see with the shop owners, you have some Muslims, some Buddhists, you have the grade school right around the corner, so all the kids come here after school and have a good snack. But for cultural diversity, how does Phuket score? The score is like an 8 or a 9. Let's call it a 9 because you also have all the tourists. Per square kilometer, you have the most density of tourists in all of the world in Phuket. So you have all this international flavor, you have the local flavor between the Muslim and the Buddhist and the Chinese influence. And if you go to my videos, you can check out when we went to the vegetarian festival. You got a good glimpse of the Chinese culture if you click the link above. And if you check out another one of my videos where I spent the day with Siddiq, my Muslim friend, he took me to mosque. You can click that link above too and check out when Siddiq took me to mosque and we made amazing roti. Related to cultural diversity, how's the food here? Well, you can imagine with all the melting pot, I think it's the best food in Thailand. Amazing Thai food, amazing selection of kind of the American, the local influence, and then the Chinese influence. And then you have all these international people here who've opened Italian, Swiss, every kind of European food you can imagine, French. So food in Phuket is it's a 10. The best coconut pancake in Phuket. Delicious. She sells out like in an hour. You have to get here kind of early. So popular. And check that out. It's like fresh coconut with taro. Yummy. Aroy mama. Good. Good. Kata Beach, everyone. And I arrived on this beach about 15 months ago. You can see my video if you click the link above about how I quit. But it was during that time when I kind of had the conclusion I never wanted to go home. I wanted to make Rawai my home and work from here full time. Why? Because of quality of life. Quality of life here is a perfect 10. I don't think there's anywhere better right now to be. When you look at all the happenings around the world, all the friction and tension and violence, it's so peaceful here. It's such a positive work environment. It's great for creative energy and to get into that flow. So how is the quality of life in Rawai? It scores a perfect 10. There's no better place right now in the world that can really rate as high as quality of life in Rawai or Phuket. On that note, how's the quality of foreigner? The other digital nomad working here, again, scores really high. I've met some of the nicest, friendliest people working here, doing the most creative work and running successful businesses. I operate a B2B marketing agency. Best place to do so. Met some really good people to bounce ideas off of. So the quality of foreigner here in the digital nomad is like a 9. So how does Rawai score? Is a remote work destination? It's a perfect 10. It doesn't get any better. This is the best place in the world right now. It's paradise. It's the best place to run your business. And for other videos about scoring cities, check out my channel. You'll see other videos there that talk about Chiang Mai and Bangkok and Taipei. And there's a whole series of videos coming up where I'm going to tour cities around India and Asia and the US. And if you have any favorite cities that you like to work remotely, please drop them in the comments below. Maybe I'll come pay you a visit and explore your city with you. That's it from Rawai, everyone. I'm Philip James. I'll see you next time.